And we're going.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 4th episode of the Why It Matters podcast. I'm Mari.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Inês.
Woo!
We have a special guest today.
So things are a little different today. Unfortunately, we are missing Ella again. And we're recording things a little differently. So this should be the 4th episode, but we're actually recording it before the 3rd episode.
Yes.
And this should be coming out in April, so...
Yeah, we're hoping to release this during the exam period because it goes with our topic today, which is talking about study tips and advice for others and ourselves and talking about our past experiences with exams.
Yeah.
So we're recording this in March, but hopefully you'll be seeing it in April, and hopefully you can take something from this and, you know, use it, and good luck with everything.
Yeah. And me and Vanessa were talking, and we thought, who better to talk about exams and being the GOAT in academics than Inês?
Yes, she is...
Incredible.
Yeah, for any of you who know her, she is locked in.
Oh, thanks, guys.
She's also our future IESSA co-president.
Yes.
So even more qualified to talk about stuff like this. So, yeah.
Yeah,
This
I can't
is-
wait to hear.
Yeah. So technically you're our first ever recorded guest,
Okay.
but our second published guest.
Okay.
It'll make sense. It'll make sense later. So yeah, this is kind of like a practice run to see how we do with guests, and I know it's gonna go great because what you missed in the 40 minutes since we've been here is me
Some
fighting
major
for my
technical
life
difficulties.
in
Mari's
the
actually
podcast
the
room
GOAT,
because I don't know who was here before us, but they majorly messed with the setup in a way that only one mic at a time was recording, and I actually crashed out.
We just recorded 7 minutes before we realized.
Only one mic was on, and I think it was only mine.
So
Yeah.
now we're redoing it, but
Yeah, so we have to kind of start over, but it's fine.
But
It's
we're
fine.
back and we're better than ever.
Exactly.
It's okay.
So now we have to try to replicate the gold that we were talking for 7 minutes.
I think a big thing we were just talking about is study groups,
Yes.
because we love a good study group. We love a good whiteboard,
Yes.
and it's just so helpful for us to teach others with the whiteboard.
Yes. So what we were saying was, especially in global studies, because that's, I feel like, a majority of what our exams are in IES, because really, like, our INET courses don't really have exams like that. So we were talking about, like, our methods for global studies, and usually we were saying how, like, you got to make your notes a few days before the test or exam, and then in the days leading up, you study group, like, you work that study group for a few days, and maybe even day of the exam.
Yeah. We love to book a classroom, an empty classroom.
We love to book a room in the library with the whiteboard, the
Yeah.
one room.
Yeah. And just stay
Yeah.
there for hours, going
Literally.
over all of the concepts, linking things together
There are
on the
mind
whiteboard,
maps.
mind mapping.
Mind maps
yes.
hate to see us coming. We're trying to connect everything to everything.
Yes.
So yeah, that's like our key secret is a whiteboard, a classroom, and just teaching each other and listening.
And doing your notes before, even throughout the whole year,
Yes.
taking notes on the lectures, taking notes on the readings, making a list of your questions every week so that you can ask throughout the year what you need clarification on instead of leaving it all until the last minute
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
scrambling, being stressed, being anxious. That's never a good thing.
And even with, like, the study group piece, what we were just talking about, too, is we're all part of the IESSA, and something that we really want to do in the upcoming year, like in September, is amp up study groups, like amp up any opportunity for, like, our community to kind of work together and
Because they
just,
are really so helpful.
Yes. So in terms of if anyone wants to join or take part in any of this, please, like, keep your eyes open and keep your Instagram feed refreshed, because we will be posting about study groups and just any opportunity to come together.
And
as,
we
like,
have fun. We
Oh,
get
it's so
food,
fun.
we have snacks.
yes,
It is a good time.
Our
It is a
IES
good time.
community is, honestly, I say IES, but, like, GS, anybody is welcome.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Yes,
any
100%.
sort of, like, relationship with anyone, because it's honestly so fun and it's so helpful. Like, we
Yeah.
take turns teaching each other.
Yep.
We take turns writing on the whiteboard. We take turns listening. And when you just run through that cycle,
Yep.
it does wonders for
Sometimes
exams.
I'll be taking like a test or an exam, and I can hear Mari's voice of what she taught me like the day before.
Yes.
And it actually works. I'm like, then she said this, and then she told me to do this.
Yes.
I'm especially like that with Ella. I feel like me and Ella have a thing going where she'll literally she'll just go and start yapping through all of it, and I'm like,
but it
yes,
sticks.
It 100% does stick. I hear her voice, I hear all of our voices just like telling me what to write. And I think like it was honestly such a life-changing moment for me in spring of first year when we had a room in the 24-hour lounge. We were all so cramped.
That was like one of the first study groups we ever did.
Ones, and we were there for hours.
Mm-hmm. Some people slept there, slept over. I didn't, but I know a lot of people did.
I had to go home at some point, but
I think Ella and some people stayed overnight and just kept going.
Yeah.
That was, I think, for GS 102, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was our first Teresa course, and you just had to lock in.
Shout out Teresa,
Shout
by
out
the way.
Teresa. We shout her out every episode.
Teresa, you know we love you. You know IES doesn't play about you.
But yeah, you just have to rip, and you just have to know it so well, the content, because I feel like
you have to understand it, not just memorize it.
And it's always there's always like a narrative. I feel like especially the way that global studies profs usually make their syllabi, is that each week is a narrative. Each week is a topic. And so there's an arc there. So like if we're talking right now, the course me and Vanessa have with Dr. Latta right now with development and sustainability. Every week is one of it's like global health. The other week could be food sources or food systems. And so you kind of have to know like what story are we telling? What are the terms, whatever. And if you don't understand that, like I fear you're screwed.
Yeah. No, it's not one of those courses where you can just kind of get by with memorizing a few definitions. It's not like that at all, because everything connects together and links back to other things, and even courses link with each other.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So having like a good understanding is so helpful, and I think that's why when we have the study groups and you can like hear other people's perspectives, ideas, and kind of combine them all together, then you can grasp a really good understanding of the content.
And that's one of the things that is like that I love most about global studies. I'm taking a course right now called Being Human in a Global Age. If anyone wants to take that, I literally will shout it from the rooftops. It's such a good course. It's with Bina. I don't know if anyone's taken a Bina course.
I have not.
No. Oh my goodness, you guys would love Bina. So as you guys were saying, Latta's course has a structure each week. It's kind of a new concept.
Yeah.
With Bina, she does each week you focus on a different decade, beginning in the 40s, and you talk about what it meant to be human in that decade. So beginning with the 40s, you know, with the World War, with the Holocaust, you talk about how do you find meaning through suffering. And each decade, it's honestly the most beautiful course ever because Bina teaches it in such a like soulful way, and she connects with the material so well. So, and like they were saying, the concepts all connect together. Yeah. It's like you can apply it, and it's a global studies credit, but it's also a mix of like religion and kind of philosophy. But point is, global studies, everything is connected. And if you really like look for that and appreciate it, I think it makes those classes so much easier because you can actually make those connections instead of just memorizing stuff that doesn't relate or correlate.
Yeah, it makes the classes more enjoyable too when you like understand what's going on. You can make your own connections, because if you're just sitting there not knowing what's going on, that's not going to be enjoyable for you. That's just like a chore, like going to class. Yeah.
And you could even try to have like your own opinion with the material when you know it so well.
Yes.
I remember in 211, like our prof Alicia literally told us, like, if you are on the like doing the test and you want to mention something you've learned in a previous class, go ahead.
I loved that she said that.
Like I would literally like in the test write Teresa's name and what we talked about, and we'd get marks for that.
mentioned everywhere.
In text citations of Teresa 2026.
In APA text, but it's a test. 100%. Because that's how our brains work. So with these courses, they're so interconnected that you just like that's just the mind map that I'm seeing in my head when I'm writing. It's like, this connects to this, and then this, and then this, and then.
And it connects to education too, which is kind of the point of our whole podcast.
I was just about to mention that, like in kind of relation to the topic of this whole podcast, I think that's sometimes where some of us students go wrong with hating on global studies and not seeing the point. It's when you really take the time to see how it applies to your own future career as an educator and to just everyday life, it becomes so much more impactful. And when I started seeing global studies that way, like global studies are my favorite classes.
Me too.
Because it's so applicable, and you learn, like, you're learning about the world around you and how you can use that in your future classroom. I just think that it's such a privilege that we can take so many of those classes in our major. And guys, shift those mentalities. Start appreciating those classes. I swear they'll get easier.
I feel like you said, mentality is such a big part of like everything as well, because if you have the mindset that you don't want to be here, you don't want to learn, this is stupid.
Yes.
Like, what's the point? If you come into a class with that mindset, you're not going to retain any of the information. But if you come in excited to learn, excited to see how things can connect to your life, excited to see how it can connect to your future job, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, and even like, and if we're being real, there's one course right now that we're taking that I really struggled with seeing how it connected to us.
Math?
No, not math. I love math. It's research methods.
Which one's that?
With Tom.
With Tom.
Oh, yes.
In the beginning, it was really hard for me to be like, I'm not going to do research. Like, how does any of this really apply to me?
Which is what a lot of us are saying.
But I think if we really get down to it, like, essentially what we're learning is the methods of how global studies comes to be, and essentially the herstory, if you will, of why it's become so. Because when we think of like what global studies is, it is like if every social science and even some of the hard sciences like were smushed into one sort of subject.
Yeah.
And there had to have been an evolution to get from like hard sciences to social sciences to global studies. And that's what we're learning about essentially.
Yeah.
And even if we aren't, I think most of us aren't going into research. I still think there's value in taking that course, and that we are learning new stuff. And like even like I remember the very beginning, it felt like I had taken a sociology course in first year as an elective, and a lot of what we learned was stuff that I learned in sociology. So it's a very different global studies course to what we've done previously in first year and a lot of our second year courses. But I think it's still like it's similar. Like it is still a global studies course. We are still learning global studies things. Yeah. Like last week was what I've coined Teresa Week. So we talked about feminism. We talked about
critical race theory.
Yes, and I think we're adding on to that this week. But yeah.
No, and I also had kind of an epiphany moment with that class too, because I found myself saying like, I'm not gonna, conduct my own research. Why do I need to know this? But even being someone who takes global studies classes, your whole, course is looking at research.
Yeah.
Whether you realize that or not. So it's teaching us how to critically analyze and look at, okay, this piece of information, where did this come from? How was this obtained? Because we're learning about all the different biases, all the different, for lack of a better word, like flaws in research, and how to go about that in an ethical, in a morally correct, like in the proper ways to actually obtain correct research that isn't, inflicting harm on the people you're researching, etc. So I think it's important as someone who's taking global studies electives, but also in education, we deal with research all the time. Like new, methods of teaching, new reasons that the lesson plan is being changed in a certain way. Like there are reasons.
What we've been doing in the past, like how we've realized that, maybe it doesn't work as well as we thought.
Exactly. And like we were just talking in our EM math class about studenting, for example, and about how, we as students, we memorize, we do what we got to do to get the grade, and that is being studied, and we're looking at how do we change this in the curriculum and how do we make students not feel like they have to do this. We know that because of research. So then we look at how did this research come to be? Who did the research? What did they do? What methods did they take? So it's all connected.
It is. And for people who say like, this is different than what we normally do, we shouldn't have to do it, getting a mixture of many different types of classes is also going to benefit you. If all your classes are the exact same, learning the same stuff, the exact same format, you're not going to learn much from that. So I think that having kind of a different type of class where we're learning things in a little bit of a different way can only help us. I've never studied harder than for Tom's tests
Oh,
this semester.
100%.
And you're probably better for it.
And
because
those hard
those,
study days where I just worked and worked and worked, that's going to help me in the long run. Now for a future class where there's a difficult thing coming up, I have those strategies that I learned.
Yeah, and even like right now what we're doing with the AI stuff, I think is so important.
Yes.
Right now we're learning about evaluative judgment, and essentially that means like us having the capabilities to identify when work is like what we would coin as quality.
Yes.
And then being able to like objectively look at our own work or the work of a peer and determine if that work is quality.
Yes.
And using that to look at AI, like work that AI has done, to see if it is quality, because most of the time it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode isn't about AI, but I could go on and on.
We should do an episode about AI. I feel like we have a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's naive to ignore it. Like, because they're even profs, even Tom that we were just talking about, he was telling us about how this year his course feels different because he and many other professors are trying to navigate, how do I teach with AI?
Yeah.
How do I
give
you
to
an
everyone.
essay or an assignment knowing that you're going to paste it into ChatGPT or whatever other AI platforms there are? So it's, even as future educators, it's so helpful for us to see, how are you navigating this? How can I navigate it?
Yeah.
And then as a student, how do I, develop that evaluative judgment?
Yeah, because for better or for worse, like our profs are kind of guinea pigs
Oh,
in
yeah,
trying
it's
to
so
fake trial
new.
and error. Like do
when
we go,
did chat kind of first get prevalence? Probably within the last 2-3 years.
when we were
Yeah.
in high school, I want to say
Maybe
like
when I was
grade
in
11.
grade 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know about it then.
Yeah, I had friends
But it's
who were
definitely,
using
it's
it.
becoming more and more like used
Yeah.
and popular. I feel
Yeah.
like as the years go on, it's becoming like bigger and smarter. Like now you can
Yes.
just paste whole documents into it and it will just summarize it just like that in a second.
Yeah, and with that evaluative judgment piece, as much as we as students have to develop it, professors have also had to be able to look at a piece that, it has very big words. It sounds like it's saying something, but you have to look at it and, is there actual substance here?
Yeah.
Are they saying something?
Does the student write academically, or is it chat sort of thing?
Yes, and you realistically, as much as it can mask itself and make it look like it's human written, it can't. Like, if you actually look within an AI generated piece of media in whatever way, there are going to be holes, there are going to be things they're saying where they're just, in a way, beating around the bush. Like, they're saying something in a really fancy way, but what are they actually saying?
Yeah, they're saying
Where's
something,
the
but they're
substance?
not.
It's a lot of nothing,
Yeah.
realistically.
So like no shade to anyone who uses it, but also yes, shade.
Yeah,
Cough,
guys,
cough.
and I know that it's so, like, we were talking about this before. It's so easy to just be like, oh, I have this tool. Why wouldn't I use it? I'm busy.
But then you're not learning. What are you paying
Exactly.
for?
What are you paying for?
Because there are they'll talk about this in a future episode for sure, but there are so many consequences to using AI. Obviously, the biggest one is academic. I don't know the
Misconduct?
Yeah.
You will get flagged and you will probably get, I don't know, expelled
Yeah.
from your university. But long term, your brain needs to be stimulated. You need to be growing and you need to be, learning. And the more that you use something like AI, the less you're stimulating your brain, and you'll find yourself in a position where I can't even write a paragraph without
Especially
relying on
as
it.
future educators. I don't want to go like on and on about AI, but
Yes.
it just baffles me that people specifically like who want to be future educators are
Like right now, in such a key moment of
Yeah.
our education, you're trying to rely on it so heavily. Like
Yes.
I can understand in some cases using it.
As a tool.
Yes. But when you're in your second year of university and you're trying to be a teacher and you have 4 more years left, right now you've become so addicted, because I think for many people it becomes an addiction to where you cannot.
It's part of that studenting piece. Like, you feel like you need it.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to blame students who do that, but just kind of reflect and look at moving away from that for your own good.
Some of my favorite parts of our education classes are like coming up with lesson plans, coming up with activities to do with a classroom. And then for the people who just put that into ChatGPT and say, give me a lesson plan, and then use that.
You're losing the core, the core of what we want to be.
Because I have fun doing that.
Yeah.
And like some of the things I come up with I'll actually use in my future class. But
and then you're proud of your work too. You can look back and say, oh, I created this myself.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling when you finish your lesson and you think it's really well done.
Yeah. It's good. Don't worry. Sorry, the laptop screen just like it's like
I just had a moment of panic.
No,
the
don't worry.
laptop screen just turned off.
But no, it's good. I started still recording.
But yeah, it's such a good feeling when you like finish something that you're proud of, and I just feel like you don't get that when you're just not doing your own work.
And maybe in 30 years when you've been teaching for like decades and you're like, maybe I'll use chat for this one.
Ask ChatGPT its opinion once in a while.
But hey, if this is your first time doing a lesson plan, maybe put chat away and like lock in for a good hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is your first time doing it. Come on now, please.
Yeah.
Here, wait. I'll sign back into the laptop so we all like aren't freaked out.
Yes.
But.
So yeah, Inês, I was gonna ask you, what's like your number one, I guess, piece of advice you would give to people who might be newer to exams, tests, midterms?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that like you specifically do that really helps you? I know we talked about study groups, but is there anything else?
For me, something that I always do is I need to understand something. So memorizing, as much as like it can get you far, but for me, I need to like know it inside and out. So okay, let's say for Tom's exam, for our research methods class, what I will do for the tests that we just had and for exams is, it's time consuming, but I will go to the beginning of whatever I'm studying. So let's say if this is a culminative
Cumulative.
There you go.
Ignore that, everybody. Cumulative exam, and we're starting from lesson 1. I will go open the slideshow of lesson 1, open my notes, and I will go through it and like teach myself and it's out loud, and I'll say it, or I'll bug my friends and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna teach you this whole course, because that's how it works in my brain. I'm kind of a talker, if we didn't know, so I will like just talk at you and tell you about it, and I need to explain it in simple terms. So that's what helps me. And then, so I'm doing that with the slides, I'm doing that with my notes. And then once I feel confident in my abilities, then I hit up these 2 friends of mine and I'm like, okay, now let's do a study group and let's all talk about this, because there have been so many times where I do this on my own and then I'm talking to Vanessa and she's like, oh yeah, and then mention this, and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, or people have different examples. Or like, oh, the thing I used to understand that, what did we do the other day? Oh my gosh, we used Taylor Swift eras to go through, what was it?
Okay, so this is for Tom's course, we were in the library room with the whiteboard and I was writing the pipeline of how Tom got to his research. So it first started with the researcher Homer Dixon.
Yes.
And then another researcher called Levy criticized him. And then Busby also tested Homer Dixon's research. And then Tom eventually like also went off Homer Dixon's.
It was kind of just like a timeline of like how each researcher went like connected to the next, or what a different researcher criticized, or
essentially I was calling it the pipeline.
Yeah.
But the way I was trying to explain it was like different in different eras. And then I just started
so
calling
funny.
out. Okay, so this was the criticism. So this is reputation. and yeah.
No, but that is what works. Like I do the same thing.
And that's how I remembered it.
Yes, because then you're writing the exam and you're like, oh wait,
I didn't actually write reputation on the test, but that's what helped me remember what happened.
It's those neural pathways that are connecting. And then you're able to explain it in your own words, because then for those long answer questions, there's only so much you can say that you saw on Tom's slideshow. Like if you're able to get into it, explain the why, explain the how, and make all the connections, because you can't connect something that you don't understand. And profs love connections. If you can say, oh, this reminds me of this, explain this and how they're connected, like that's how you get those bonus marks. And you also have to see what profs want. So for example, when we had Teresa is someone who, she wants you to talk, she wants you to tell her everything you know, but with meaning. She doesn't want you to ramble.
Yeah.
And that worked perfectly with how I write. So I was like, okay, I'll just say everything. So I'd write, my answer to the question, and then I'd be like, this connects to this. Another concept in the course, even if that wasn't what she was asking for. Profs love to see critical thinking.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I do, and then the study group, and then...
And I feel like a big thing you said was, like, going back to week 1, going through everything from that week, and I feel like that takes time.
It does. That's why you guys were saying you can't do it the night before.
Exactly.
Like, but you don't have to be excessive. It doesn't need to be 2 months prior to your exam.
No.
But even give yourself a week or 2.
Yeah.
You can do that if you have, a little bit of time every night.
And something that helps me a lot is, like, making a schedule. It helps me kind of stay organized, because if I just sit down and I'm like, if I just sit down a week before the test with every single thing from the past 12 weeks in front of me, I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just pretty much going to be sitting there. But if I have something in my mind, like, okay, on this day, I'm going to review stuff that we learned in week 1. And then this afternoon, I'm going to review the stuff from week 2. And just kind of do it like that. I feel like when you split it up that way, it's just, like, more manageable. And you'll end up doing a lot better, and then leaving days where you can meet with friends and talk about it, leaving days where you can talk to your profs about it. I feel like going to office hours is another really important thing. I'm honestly giving this advice to myself too, because I think I can use this more, but office hours, it's so good. You can, first of all, you can meet your profs if you don't know them very well and be, like, known by them, which never hurts. But also, like, it's just, like, one-on-one time where you can just clarify any single thing that you're not 100% about.
Yeah. And even, like, the piece you both mentioned of, like, kind of getting to know your prof and how they mark is so important. I know, especially with Dr. Lada, like, it is so important to not go too in the weeds with when you're writing.
See, and that's kind of a contrast to Teresa a little bit.
Yeah, because she wants every single connection you got that's in topic. She wants every single one.
Yes.
Whereas Lada is very much like, stick to what the question asks.
Yes.
Go in depth, go make examples, but don't go too in the weeds. If you get too specific, he doesn't want that.
Yeah, and by knowing your profs, you can learn,
how to write what they want.
Because every prof is a little bit different.
Yes.
Like, they look for slightly different things.
And I know this sounds like studenting, which we were talking about is a negative, but the reality of, like, academia is you're going to have profs who want different things. So it's like they can't write something for Lada that would fit into the mold of what Teresa wants. So it's just realistic. You need to understand what they're looking for.
Yeah. And so asking questions in class, making sure not only do you know, like, what questions are going to be on a midterm or a test, but what that structure is going to look like is so important, as long as they're, like, willing to share, which usually they are.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you looking for? How do you want me to write this? How do you want, because everyone is working with the same baseline of information, but every prof wants you to describe that information and make those connections in specific ways that work for the course and work for them. So it's really important that you get to know your prof and get to know what they're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think with our time remaining, I wanted to go back to that piece of what advice would you give either yourself in first year or a future first year? So if anyone has any thoughts on that.
Well, just to go off what you guys were already saying too, office hours, I know that everyone's busy and sometimes it doesn't work with your schedule.
And it can sometimes be scary to go to office hours.
Sure, it's
I know I
intimidating.
felt that way a lot, especially in my first year. I was like, oh, I'm shy.
Yeah. But, like, especially if you're in IES, you have such an opportunity that other people don't have, because our program is small. It's very small.
And I feel like GS is similar. Maybe not being as small, but the profs are so involved.
But it's still kind of a tighter-knit community. And if you think of a professor, obviously they can be intimidating, but a professor is somebody who is there. Their job is to teach you, and they are passionate about their work. They love to talk about their work. They love to talk about what they've dedicated a large portion of their life to studying. So go to their office hours and create relationships with them, because then, your prof is seeing you in class. Oh, they're going to say hi to you. They know your name. They see your assignment. They know, oh, Vanessa and Mari, they actually came to see me. I know that they are putting in an effort.
It shows them that you care. And I think that's a big thing. If they know that you care, it can make a big difference.
Yeah,
100%.
So I would say, like, one of my big advice pieces is take advantage of that. Like, I have a friend last year or term, whatever, who, she was putting in a lot of effort, for this class. She was there every week. She had a relationship with a prof, and she didn't do very well on the midterm. But she met with the prof, and the prof said, I know you. I know that you are trying. Let's work towards, doing better on the exam, and I'm going to help you do that.
Profs want you to do well. They're not out to
1,000%.
get you. They're not evil, trying to trick you.
Yes.
They genuinely want you to do well, and they're willing to help you do well.
Exactly. And this prof took the time to go through each question. This is how you can fix it. Your prof is not going to do that if, I've never seen you in class. I only see your name. I only see your name for the tests. They're not going to take the time out of their day to meet with you and go through everything because they know you don't care.
And even like you were saying, I think it's sometimes maybe we forget because we're in IES, and I feel like a lot of the profs in IES make the effort to know all of our names and stuff. But even if you're in first year and you're in your first lecture hall type class, you have to. It's not like in high school where that teacher has a lot of maybe 3 periods of the same class and they have so many students, but they get to know you. This prof has hundreds of students. You have to be brave and you have to go and make that connection. And that gets easier every year because your classes get smaller and there's probably less of you. And so that becomes easier. But in that first year, if you want to work hard and you want to build those connections, you have to be brave and you have to go. And that doesn't mean it has to be alone. You can ask a friend, hey, do you want to go to office hours with me?
Yes.
And then, be brave and go together. Being brave doesn't mean doing things alone, because having that community is so, so important. But yeah, it's just so important that, you try and let your profs know that you are trying.
Yes.
Because even, I've had stuff go wrong on accident. I'm a pretty good student, or at least I try to be. And when things go wrong, if you have that connection with the prof, they know, this isn't Mari trying to game the system.
Yes.
This is something genuinely is wrong. Let's be lenient.
And
or
they will give you that grace because things really do happen.
Yeah, because no one's perfect. There's always one thing that I would one thing of advice that I would give to myself is that you don't have to be perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. I tend to be very hard on myself, and I'm sure a lot of people maybe listening can relate. So I think it's important to just give yourself some grace. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to ask for help when you need it. It's okay to talk to your profs and say, hey, I'm gonna need some extra time working on this, or I'm gonna need some extra time to maybe meet with you to go over something. And every prof is so understanding. So I think that, just reminding yourself that it's okay to, take breaks, and it's okay to just not be perfect all the time.
Yeah. You're allowed to have an off day. And I'm sure that your prof is going to be happy that you're reaching out and happy that they know that A, you're doing the work, and B, you're doing the work so much that you need more time to do it.
Yeah, because that also shows that you care.
Yeah,
exactly.
That doesn't mean, however, maybe don't send that email at 11:30 for the assignment due at 11:59.
Yes, but, to a certain extent.
Yeah, your
anticipate a few days before.
Exactly, your assignment's due in a few days. Oh, I'm really stressed. I have so much going on. I know I work tomorrow. Whatever. If you send an email and say, hey, this is the truth. Don't lie. Don't make up excuses. Just say, honestly, I'm overwhelmed. I want to do my best on this assignment. What can you do for me? Can I get an extension? And 9 times out of 10, your prof will be I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah.
Because it's better than just being late. And just emailing 2 minutes before
or better
it's due.
than doing it but not putting your full effort into it, or putting it into ChatGPT and then submitting it.
Oh my days.
Don't do that, guys.
We have to move on because I will crash out.
We will never stop.
So actually, I think that's all the time we have today. Because Inês is so studious, she has to go to class.
I'm going to that Being Human class, guys.
One more thing that I'll say before we end it is since I think you guys will be listening to this during the exam period, one thing that I just want to remind everyone of is take breaks when you need it. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, and make sure that you're eating properly. I feel like people sometimes just get so stressed and they don't
take care of themselves.
They don't take care of themselves, and I feel like self-care, especially during times where you're stressed and there's a lot going on, self-care is so important. So I just really want to emphasize that. And if anyone ever wants to reach out, needs any help, we are of course here.
Yes.
Anyone who knows
100%.
us, or if you don't know us,
We said our names, and you can find us on the web.
On the web, on the
Contact
World
us.
Wide Web.
We are here. www.
Yeah, so just to quickly add on to that, like, exam season, especially a night before an exam, 2 nights before an exam, is not the time to mess around and find out
No.
about, like, hey, why don't I pull my first all-nighter? Please, I beg you, do not do
Yeah,
that.
you can't succeed when you
No.
have 30 minutes of sleep.
Please,
No.
please don't. Please stop studying and just get that sleep instead.
Yes.
Like,
you'll end up doing better than if you're
Yes.
exhausted.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's just not worth it.
with that, I also want to add, going off of what they both said, as much as we're, encouraging, be that academic weapon, really put your best foot forward, at the end of the day, you can only give your best. And if you tried and, your exam grade wasn't what you wanted, at the end of the day, it is one exam and you are not your grade. So our biggest piece of advice is just do your best.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
If you don't
it's
do
not,
well, at least you can look back and say,
Yes.
"Wow, at least I tried my best and I gave it my all."
And it's a
then you
learning
can,
experience.
Yeah, and then just learn from
100%.
it.
Yeah.
Get your feedback, see what you can improve on next time, and then just learn from it.
And then start studying to have the comeback of the millennia.
That's the key, is take that and be like, okay, how can I do better?
How
What
can
did
I be
do
a
wrong?
god in this
Yes.
in this subject? How can I
Exactly.
study so much that I'm about to teach this course to everyone else?
Yes. And we've all gotten a grade that we weren't the happiest about, and all you can do with that is look at yourself and say, okay,
Some of the best
next
learning
one.
opportunities come from making mistakes or not doing
Yes.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you get that grade, you're like, okay. Then you talk to the prof. You see where you went wrong. You talk to your friends about, hey, how did you guys study? How can I do better next time? And then you do better next
And then
time.
when are you free for our study group?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So just take that, move on, and be better from it, but don't dwell on your mistakes, because that is a deep, deep rabbit hole, and it's very easy to say, oh, I didn't do well, I suck. But
yeah,
it's
and
not.
it's also
You don't
easy
suck.
to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't do well on that. I'm just not going to try for the rest of the year now."
I can't do well. That is
No.
not true.
No.
You
No.
can lock in.
Yes.
You can become the subject.
Yes.
And you can get the grade you were looking for.
Yes, and any, like, quote-unquote academic weapon, that is how, like, it's because they
They
put
have
in that
failed.
effort, and they move on from,
Yes.
what, I didn't do well, okay, next one. And, like, nobody is perfect. Us three sitting here, we do not get 100% on every single thing at
No,
all.
we do not.
Definitely not.
We have nights
I
where we're
have
like,
been humbled.
we have nights where we're like, okay, confused about everything. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta just take that
Yeah.
and learn from it.
Hey, it's week 4 and I still don't know what we're doing type
Yes.
of stuff.
But the key is just putting in that effort and doing your best, guys.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think when people are listening to this, we're probably having a study group as you're listening. If
can
this
find
is
us in
exam
the
period,
library.
so find us in the library or in a classroom or in the 24-hour
Yes.
lounge,
Yeah.
and
I have
please
bright
join
pink
us.
hair, so you can find me anywhere.
And we'll be right behind Mari. So.
So yeah, okay, we have to go, but
Yes.
thanks everyone so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inês, for joining us.
Guys,
We're so happy
I
to
love
have
so
it.
you.
I'm
amazing
so
to
happy
have
be
you.
here. Anytime.
Oh, well,
We will take you up
The
on
viewers
that.
are gonna be like, please don't invite her back.
no.
No.
They love you. They love you.
I'm sure they'll love you.
Okay,
But yes, come
uh,
back anytime.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, good luck on exams.